When we're talking about in, on, and at, a lot of people get confused with these because they're used for describing so many different things, right? They connect so many different things. But we're going to talk about the two main areas where we use in, on, and at. The two areas are time and space. Okay? So let's begin with time. Well, I don't know if you guys have seen the pyramid that's associated with in, on, and at, but we have a pyramid where at is at the very top, a little bit lower is on, and then at the very bottom is in, right? So why is it a pyramid like that with those three words? Well, in is at the very bottom because it's responsible for the large lengths of time, the big general lengths of time, right? We have things like, an example would be in December or in 2019, right? In the 20th century. So big, long amounts of time, right? That's why it's at the very bottom. And then we have on in the middle. Right? So as we're going up the pyramid, it gets a little bit more specific, not as wide anymore. So we have examples like days of the week or days of the month, right? Like on Monday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all on, right? Or days of the month, right? On February 15th. Right? So it gets a little bit more specific as we move into on. And then we go to at, which is at the very top of the pyramid. Right? This is the most specific one when we're talking about time. With at, we talk about the actual time when things happen, very specific times. For example, at 3 o'clock, at noon. Right? So I'll try to do an example for you guys that incorporates kind of the same sentence. So in December, we celebrate Christmas, right? On December 25th, we celebrate Christmas, right? At 8 a.m. on December 25th, I open all my presents on Christmas, right? So that pyramid can really help out students when they're thinking about when to use in, at, or on, because it can get a little tricky sometimes. So another area where in, at, and on are used is space, right? Location, physical areas. First, we're going to talk about in. When do we use in terms of physical space? So in is most used when talking about enclosed spaces, right? Areas that are contained in a certain area, right? Like a garden, right? I'm working in my garden, okay? I am in the supermarket, okay? So the supermarket is like an enclosed space. It's like a building, it's a room that's surrounded by walls, it's one big space. Another enclosed space can be countries, right? Countries or cities. So I live in France, or I am in California, right? So even though it's a big area, it's also an enclosed space. The area that it's a part of has a very defined point, right? So California has its boundaries. So does France or any other country. So when we're talking about places or other enclosed spaces, we use in. So the next one we're going to talk about is at. So at is similar to in, but at is more having to do with physical points, okay? So maybe like at the bus station, right? So I'll see you at the bus station. And we're talking about a specific point. Or something like an address is a specific point, right? I live at 4152 Rainbow Road, okay? So when we're talking more about specific areas, we use at. And now for the last one we're going to talk about is on. When do we use on to talk about space? So for on, we usually use it when we're talking about something that is on the surface of something else, right? Like easy one, the pen is on the table, right? But any surface will do. It doesn't have to be a table. It can be the paper is on the wall, right? The light is on the ceiling. The shoes are on the floor. So anything, if there's a surface, like a flat surface, and something is touching that surface, then it's usually on that surface. So sometimes people get confused with these because, well, sometimes you can use multiple ones to kind of say the same thing, right? Like in or at. For example, when you're meeting some friends, when you're going out with some friends, going to party, have a fun weekend, maybe you can say, I will meet you at the bar, right? But you can also say, I will meet you in the bar, right? So those are kind of the same thing, but a little bit different. So when you're talking to your friend and you're saying, I'll meet you at the bar, you're telling him or her the location of where you want to meet. So maybe not meet at my house, we'll meet at the bar, okay? It could be in front of the bar, it could be inside the bar, it could be next to the bar, but at the bar, that's the specific location. But when you say, I'll meet you in the bar, you're talking about more inside the bar, right? So, because when we use in, we're talking about enclosed spaces, right? So, oh, I'll meet you in the bar, so inside. So a little bit different, but almost the same, right? All right, guys. So to finish out the video, I'm going to give you a little quiz so we can practice how do we use on, in, and at. Okay, so let's see if you got it. I'm going to give you 3 sentences, and you're going to tell me which ones you would use in all of them, okay? They're very similar sentences, so let's see. The first one's going to be, blank the last day of summer, I like to go to the beach. Blank the last day of summer, I like to go to the beach, okay? So in, on, or at. The next one is, blank the summer, I like to go to the beach. Blank the summer, I like to go to the beach. So which one would you put in there? And then the last one is, blank the end of the day, I like to go to the beach. Blank the end of the day, I like to go to the beach. So you have all 3. Which one do you think? All right, so for the first sentence, what did we put? In, on, or at? So, blank the last day of summer, I like to go to the beach. So, on the last day of summer, I like to go to the beach, right? When we use on, we talk about days, right? Specific days. It's a little bit more specific than in, but a little bit less specific than at, right? So since it's talking about a single day, we use on. So for number 2, blank the summer, I like to go to the beach. Which one is that? That's going to be in. In the summer, I like to go to the beach, right? Because the summer is a big length of time. The summer is like 3 months, right? So it's a big length of time. So when we're talking about the summer, we use in. In the summer, I like to go to the beach. And then the last one, you probably guessed it, Blank the end of the day, I like to go to the beach. So at the end of the day, I like to go to the beach. Because this is the most specific one, right? It's talking about a specific time during a specific day, right? So at the end of the day, I like to go to the beach. How'd you do? Good? All right.